Good morning, everyone. If you're ready to start this morning class, will you please stand for the national anthem? Good morning, everyone. My name is Ryan Tobin, and I'll be your Master of Ceremonies this morning. I'm the Senior Coach with the National Sports Council and the Technical Officer for the NAPSAC Championships. It is my pleasure this morning to welcome you all here to the 2022 launch of NAPSAC, a year in which NAPSAC will be celebrating its 20th anniversary. It has been sometimes since we've been able to gather in this face-to-face form, and I must say, it's really great to be here with you all for this occasion. And for the first time, I want to extend a heart welcoming good morning to our viewers joining us, extending NAPSAC family who will be joining us via the NAPSAC Instagram page, as well as watching on YouTube via the Media Resources Department's YouTube page. Good morning and welcome to all. At this point, I would like to introduce to you the head table. To my immediate right, we have Ms. Janelle Denny, Chairman of the National NAPSAC Organizing Committee. Seated next to Ms. Denny is Mr. Julian Gear, Championship Director of the NAPSAC Organizing Committee. And on our extreme right, we have Mr. Rudy Level, President of the Barbados Union of Teachers. Absent this morning is Mr. Neil. He is in a high-level meeting. He will be joining us as soon as that meeting is completed. Again, welcome to all. At this point, I want to hand over to Ms. Denny to make her opening remarks. Thank you.
Pleasant good morning to everyone. Mr. Rudy Lovell, President of the Barbados Union of Teachers, Mr. Julie Pierre, Championship Director of NAPSAC, other members of the Executive Committee, sponsors, specially invited guests, and all stakeholders joining us this morning online, locally and globally. Welcome back to another NAPSAC season. Over the last 2 years, the COVID pandemic has caused much disruption to the sporting landscape within the school system and within the wider local sporting community. NAPSAC, despite this, has remained proactive both in 2021 and now in 2022 in order to stand ready to be able to engage our children in meaningful and required developmental activities in order to continue to chart the path for their athletic development. We experienced the disappointment of not being able to execute what we conceptualized in 2021, but it is indeed a pleasure to be here with all of you on this very special day when 20 years ago our very first zonal meet was held. To this, I can only simply say happy birthday to the NAPSAC family. 20 years is not 20 days, and as we reflect on all that we as an entity have achieved, we can stand proud of all the work that has been done. Regardless of the pitfalls, we evaluated and became better. We continued to become more involved, and this in turn allowed for subsequent successes to be achieved. Most importantly, we did it together, and especially now within the challenging times experienced within this pandemic, we can continue to work hand in hand for the betterment of our children. 20 years is indeed significant and worthy of celebration, and therefore I say let us begin, let the celebrations begin. And now more than ever, we must truly appreciate all the talent and abilities of our children who have been the centerpiece of these championships these past years. As the executive committee embarked on the 2022 version of this journey, we knew this would be extremely difficult. Challenges are in no way new to us, but these past 2 years are unlike anything we have encountered. We are mindful of the varied environments in which our stakeholders must navigate. The first term commencing within an online platform, the likelihood of increased sedentary lifestyles, the lack of the general conditioning phase of our athletes all played a significant role in our decision making. But we believe that our proposed plans have allowed for appropriate solutions to these issues in order to allow our children to gradually return to full competition mode. Our activities were designed in line to be able to be executed in both the face-to-face or virtual environments. If our students cannot come to us, then we must go to them. It is the nature of things in these times, as constant adaptation, it has become necessary. With the help of their principals, their PE teachers, and the other teaching staff and officials, with the encouragement from their parents, other family members, and friends, and the continued contribution of sponsors and partners to support our initiatives, our children, your children, will once again be excited to get active, to hear the sounds of athletic competition in the air, and to be motivated to give of their best. A championship such as NAPSAC is no easy feat, and for this year, with the addition of the 20th anniversary events, sponsorship is even more critical to its success. At this time, let me take the opportunity to acknowledge our current sponsors for this 20th anniversary celebrations. Our parent entities, the Ministry of Education, Technological and Vocational Training, the Barbados Union of Teachers, and the National Sports Council. To our long-standing sponsors and partners such as Lewis, The Nation Publishing, Chefette Restaurants, SMG Beverages, House Catering, and Trophy World. We truly appreciate your continued support with your renewed and expanding contributions. In a time where sponsorship for any activity, sporting or otherwise, is difficult to secure, we feel extremely fortunate and grateful that you acknowledge the importance of this activity to the development of the children in our nation, and have committed your steadfast assistance in the execution of these celebrations. We have sought to strengthen our bonds at all levels with our stakeholders, as this is the only way to ensure we achieve the aspirations to a greater future. We have held many meetings in our preparations and will continue to do so, as we need the help of everyone to ensure our children are given the opportunity to participate. We can only be successful in the execution of each activity if everyone plays their part. Our children deserve the best, and we hope that you will give them the support they need. Finally, although we have ensured both ties remain, we have sought to create new ones. One to review now, and the other next week, so stay tuned. This year, we feel extremely blessed to welcome new partners to the NAPSAC family. In life, making new alliances is important. This gentleman is also in the wholesale business, albeit a different type of business. So it still made sense for us to align. He and his team will be forever part of our family. And as they have become part of this entity's history, with their simple yet refined contribution to help us mark our 25 years. On behalf of the Executive Committee and the entire NAPSAC family, welcome to the fold, and I wish to extend heartfelt thanks and gratitude to Mr. Neil Bernard, who will join us momentarily, and his team. From the studios of 809 Design Associates Inc., I now ask you to turn your attention to the screen for the unveiling of our 20th anniversary.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I now invite Mr. Neil Bernard, Managing Partner of 809 Design Associates Incorporated, to make a presentation.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. That's the first part. Cheers. I don't think I've actually been in a room with this many people in over a year. So this is a new experience, but a good one. It's actually good to hear around pages in particular, but people, it's very good. First of all, I want to thank NAPSAC and all these extraordinarily hard-working people from NAPSAC, the National Sports Council, Barbados Union of Teachers, for giving us the opportunity to assist in this rebranding. It's one of those projects that really goes beyond the design or brand brief. Sports administration, and participation and involvement of our young people is absolutely vital to the development of our youth. And I'm so happy to play just a small part in that. As Janelle had said, I am involved in sports, in a number of different sports actually, primarily at the moment. I'm racing through my involvement in rally and solving in Barbados. But also in past, when I say past, playing first division hockey, and had a playing very, very poorly in first division football. But hockey is one of my true loves that I would be involved in hockey festival in the past, and I'm happy to see that coming back to fruition. So, seeing NAPSAC back, and hopefully in full effect later on this year, from kind of started trials and obviously big events, it's fantastic. The identity itself, well, basically, as we approach this, it was vital for us to include a few key factors. First of all, that the identity be contemporary, so looking forward, that it be legible and utilitarian, so easy to read, and also that it would stand the test of time. And how we approach identities like this, particularly at this level, is to try and include several elements so that they can almost be taken apart and used in different ways. So with this, what we have done is ensure that the word NAPSAC is bold and reads well. We use a number of references to our national identity. So the colors, again, the typography and fonts that we use for contemporary filmmaking. And then we added our athletic symbol, which we see as a way to pull out and utilize within other forms of communication as we roll out and develop the overall identity in a range of systems in coming months and years. The addition of obviously 20, in fact, we're focused on this year's 20th anniversary of NAPSAC, which is a phenomenal achievement. This was a bonus. But part of the brief was also to ensure that when we remove that 20, that we will go lives beyond with and without 20, and obviously athletics and music. So there were a number of things that were in the brief, and part of the process as well was suggesting NAPSAC uses and an overall utilitarian system for the use of the identity going forward. So it wasn't just a case of just designing a single logo, it was a case of designing an entire identity system for NAPSAC going forward that we could tailor to whatever we needed to do. That's it, that's my piece. It's been fantastic again being involved. It really is. I look forward to this organization, which I personally consider to be vibrant, committed, and wholly dependent on the people and the people that work with it, who I've come to learn are just fantastic individuals. So all power to you guys and all the success in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bernard. And just want to let you know that it is still Masters Football, and we still have coaches available who are willing to work with anybody, no matter the challenge, to bring them to Masters Football. Thank you. At this point, I want to call stand on the arrival of Mr. Neil Merle, the Director of National Sports Council. Welcome, sir. I'm now going to invite Mr. Woody Level to put in to make his remarks. Mr. Level.
Blessed good morning to everyone. I'm extremely happy to be here to give these brief remarks. Saying that we are on the topic of football, I want to remind the presenter that I was once the assistant manager of the Rebranding national football team, so I can assist you, sir. The Barbados Union of Teachers is related to be part of one of the best, if not the best, track and field athletic championships in Barbados. This accolade is deserving, and credit must be given to the Joint Organizing Committee, which comprises representatives of the Barbados Union of Teachers, BUT, and the National Sports Council, NSC, two respective household names. The BUT embraces the continuing relationship with the NSC, which have jointly hosted with much success the National Primary Schools Athletic Championship for the past 20 years. Credit must also be given to the physical education teachers who have imparted the necessary skills, knowledge, and attitudes at the foundation level. Together with the NAPSAC Organizing Committee, the physical education teachers have assisted in making NAPSAC a household name and a stepping stone to senior athletic competitions, namely the Barbados Secondary Schools Athletic Championship, BSAC, the Caribbean Union of Teachers Games, CUT, Caribbean Games, and as far as the Olympic Games. NAPSAC has provided awareness to athletes of their options in sports, particularly track and field. Given this, it would be remiss of me if I did not acknowledge the athletes who won the hearts of thousands of spectators who have over the years patronized the event. To these patrons, we also say thank you. With these brief words, the Barbados Union of Teachers stand committed to the continued partnership and look forward to the next championship as we prepare athletes to be citizens and to be equipped to face the more challenges. My friends, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mello, President of the Barbados Union of Teachers. I don't know if we can indulge this football. I really don't know if we can get this one done, right? And give you the exit from that door, should you need it. Thank you. At this point, I'd like to invite Mr. Neil Merle, Director of the National Sports Council, make some brief remarks.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chair. Let me first of all welcome to all of you, especially on the table, including the chairman, the new chairman, Janelle Denny. Let me say up front that the National Sports Council wants to congratulate the NAPSAC committee for its 20 years in existence as a committee. That's platinum years. And just as Mr. Lovell, the last president, has said, this is indeed the best youth primary school competition this year in Barbados, in the region. And much of the superlatives that you hear about NAPSAC really redounds to the work of the NAPSAC committee over those 20 years. The NAPSAC committee, as you know, is made up of a combination of the community and the National Sports Council. And many of those members have still been staying generally. And it's their foresight in terms of retooling, reshaping, and seeking to brand NAPSAC, that NAPSAC is where it is right now. And it really speaks to the work that they have done over those 12 years. The council would also want to congratulate principals and staff of the various 18 primary schools. We want to congratulate the parents, the coaches, and physical education teachers in the school, the volunteers, and of course the media for highlighting our young people and their athletic performance. And really it is at this stage that I would want to salute three of those individuals who passed over the last year. General Map of Elliot Melville and the Alexander School, the Briggs, the principal and commentator, and of course Mr. Vincent Burke, parent. Those three individuals really epitomize what NAPSAC is all about. So much so that Mr. Burke would have started out as a supporter of his son Mario. He then evolved into a starter, and then he was a regular fixture at the NAPSAC games and the NAPSAC games. His son, as you know, went on to become an Olympian. So those three individuals would have recognized NAPSAC, where it has gone, where it was, and where it's going. And the National Sports Council also would want to thank all the sponsors over the years. And I see here one of the sponsors that we have here today. We told them Design Associates, Limited, and Bernard. I just want to say thank all the sponsors who have supported our organization. The National Sports Council has signaled to the Ministry of Education that quality physical education is part of the way we should be looking to go over the next few years. We will have discussion with supporting the Ministry of Education so that over the next few years we can expect that the persons that will come out of NAPSAC will flourish and develop even more so than Leadership Clark in the Premier, who would have not only them track we've also done boxing, and Herb Garrett, who's friend, who've done track and cricket. And we've got on this year to become on this exhibition, and scholarship winners. People want to see the quality physical education program, the build out of more individuals that are from all the countries. So I just want to thank you once again for being here, and I wish the NAPSAC community all the very best during 2020.
Thank you very much, Mr. Monroe. And now I'd like to invite Mr. Ivan Clark, acting president of the Association of Public Primary Schools Principals, to make some remarks. Mr. Clark.
Chairman of the National Sports Council, President of our teachers, Chairman of the NAPSAC, members of the sporting fraternity, sponsors, President of the it's a little scary today, but I couldn't help but come this morning. In fact, I was registered last week, got the date wrong. But I had to be here because NAPSAC is now celebrating 20 years. And me, you, Mr. Harbin, in NAPSAC, a long time ago, we ventured to Benin as part of a contingent from the UT to meet the National Sports Council. And this is very after 20 years. I want to say congratulations. It's good being part of that. I've been a PE teacher. Congratulations. I also bring greetings on behalf of the Association of Public Primary School Principals. And I'm very happy that the NAPSAC committee decided this year that they're going to include us even more. In fact, a presentation was made to the principals, one that they accepted. I think that this is the way to go, because if you're going to develop anything in primary school in Barbados, you must have the support of the principals. And I really welcome that. I'm also happy that the whole idea of conceptualizing this event this year. You see, when we are faced with something, and this is what we always tell children, that we need to adapt. That's why we're given, this is why animals adapt, lower animals, and that's why we have to adapt. And I'm very pleased that we have adapted. You know, sports in Barbados, PE especially in school, it's a big thing. We say we hooray, we always see who crosses the line, the finish line. But within the school, we see things like, we've seen children who have grown, really grown. You know, there's some names that fly off our lips. We talk about the archers, Achilles Jones. We know where the end is buried, and we know how sports will transform someone like Achilles. We would have seen our students being transformed because of coming up NAPSAC, and I have, of course, to verify that, where it transforms children. When this sports, and especially NAPSAC, at some schools, it's different. Everything lights up. Everything. Everyone in all the communities around the schools lights up because here is something to look forward to. And we have seen this growth of our children through sports, and we have to continue. The camaraderie. We give a team sport. We take it lightly, but within the school, you have, and sometimes you have to be within the school environment to feel it. Everything changes. Every single thing changes. We have fallouts, we have fall-ins, and the end we all come together again. We come together again. It's a big deal. Teachers who don't see eye to eye during sports term at all. Which is a good thing, because then they come back as one big group. And that's what we need. And this is what our children look forward to. Our children look forward to this competition. Our children look forward to this series of events. We know some of them have been given very lots of weight and stuff like that, simply because sedentary lifestyle. We have to get them back out there. We have to get them, once it's safe, we have to get them out again so that we can see, we can let them grow and grow and be healthy. And that's what we look forward to. Again, we want to congratulate NAPSAC and NAPSAC committee, Barber student teachers, National Sports Council. I can see the growth. I can see the growth of this organization. I was in, out now, and I can see that last 20 years has been phenomenal. We've taken lots of things before NAPSAC, but now this is it. And let me congratulate and salute all those persons who work very hard behind the scenes, very, very hard behind the scenes for this, this series of competition. I want to say thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clark, and I just want to, Mr. Clark, as the responsible coaches are also ready and willing and geared up to come back out as soon as you open next week, so you can let the other principals know that we are ready for action as well. Mr. Morley, you mentioned earlier that NAPSAC is a regional event, but Mr. Carvin will attest that a few years back, although NAPSAC knowing, the Barbados Olympic Association entered NAPSAC's name forward along with another development commission to an international body, and NAPSAC was awarded the top prize for the creation of a sustainable sports at youth level. So we are not only regional, NAPSAC has also international recognition.
That feels my answers.
Gracious. Now this one will pass on to Mr. Julian Pierre, Championship Director, making a presentation on the 20th anniversary activities. Dear Mr. Denny, Ms. Denny will do the presentation first, and then Mr. Pierre.
Okay, good morning again to everyone, and obviously this is the unit of the matter of why we are here. Now, as you know, today is the day that we made the official launch in terms of this conference announcing these activities. And we start officially now with next week, February 18th, with a zonal draw and announcement of new items. Now, in 2021, you would remember that because the COVID pandemic, we had made a decision to increase our zonal structure from 5 zones to 8 zones. And we've stuck with that decision because obviously we have made the determination that is the best move going forward in light of what is still happening. And therefore, we're going to have that opportunity next week, Friday, same place, same time here, to do that zonal draw. Obviously, it's going to be a random draw where all the schools that have participated in 2020, we put in the hat, we are going to bring in the spring. Now, obviously, part of that, and the exciting part of that, is the reveal of the 3 additional icons. And obviously, seeing that our icons, our present icons, have been with us for the last 8 years. To have 3 new friends, welcome to the NAPSAC family, will be something that we can all look forward to. And I'm sure that some of you, the sporting heads and the track and field lovers especially, will be starting to wonder who those 3 persons will be. As I said, stay tuned for next week, February 18th, for that revelation. Well, then we move on to a new concept this year in terms of what has been happening with the pandemic. We have introduced an event called our NAPSAC Get Moving Festival. That is going to take place March 14th to 18th, and then 21st to 23rd. That concept will be expanded on a little bit more by our championship director. But basically, we have introduced this activity because seeing that we've taken into consideration that our children have been at home for an extended period of time, we want to simply get them moving again, get them active, enjoying physical activity so that they go back on that chart of being active within the school environment, and obviously by extension, those athletes would help to be prepared for what is to come. right? So once again, our Get Moving Festival, those schools will know which day they participate, obviously based on the zonal law. So everything will be dependent on that. Now then we move on to a very new concept again, which is centered around getting our children active and keeping them active. And the focus will be on May 7th. We are going to be having an awareness fund walk for our special athletes. Now, within our NAPSAC family, over the years, we have seamlessly included our special education students within our program. Many people would not recognize that there are special athletes within the NAPSAC program because, like I said, they just come, they compete, and there's no plan for it. However, over the years, all of the schools that would have had special education units or the Ferguson Special School itself would have been ardent supporters of the NAPSAC brand, and this awareness walk is supposed to help highlight their contributions over the years. Now, to involve other children, we'll also be extending that walk to the general school population. But we've also sought to have some fitness challenges, which will be some fun little challenges that they'll have to do as part of supporting those special athletes. Then we get to the main event, what would replace our NAPSAC entity or NAPSAC competition, so to speak. This year, again, because of what has happened in terms of our children spending the first term within an online environment and still within the online environment, we have conceptualized the NAPSAC cross-country relay championships. We believe that this is the best solution in terms of, one, allowing for our children to be properly prepared and easily prepared by our physical education teachers so that they're able to participate within that particular championship. Now we know that it is a more scaled down version, but I think we have to be cognizant that being an athlete-centered entity, we took the athletes into consideration first and foremost, because this term, once the children are back into school, would give those PE teachers enough time to get them prepared in terms of their general conditioning in order to be able to participate within a cross-country relay. And again, our championship director will expand on that event as well, because with the Get Moving Festival, that is going to help get them excited for the reading. Those are the two events that we will really focus on in the championship director's presentation. And then finally, we cap off our season, so to speak, with our awards ceremony on May 28th. That award ceremony will also include the induction of our athletes Hall of Fame. Those two proposals, we start first with the athletes Hall of Fame. We had a few years ago made mention of those athletes that we wanted to make the induction of. There were a number of issues where we were not able to have the induction, and we felt that in this 20th anniversary, it would have made perfect sense to ensure that that ceremony was done for those athletes. And at the end of the day, like I said, having been an entity that has always focused on our athletes, we thought that this would be a fitting tribute. The award ceremony basically will highlight those individuals and businesses and schools that we believe over the 20 years will have served NAPSAC in such a way to be rewarded for a specific award for this year. Now, I want to also say that it was very hard to even select those persons, but we as a committee would have agreed that henceforth, all the years to come, we will be saluting members of the NAPSAC family every year with a special award. The name of that award is still to be decided. We're contemplating whether to call it the Chairman's Award of Excellence and so on. However, as I just said, because we know that there are so many people that have given human service to NAPSAC over the years, we believe that instead of waiting another 20 years, we want to be able to award persons every year thereafter. So that is a synopsis of the 20th anniversary celebrations. And now I will ask Mr. Julian Pierre to come and expand on Get Moving Festival and our cross-country relay championships. Thank you.
A special good morning to everyone. Julian Pierre, as mentioned before, basically was trying not to give a story that has been spoken throughout the years. I remember actually starting as an official of the NAPSAC in 2005 in what was then the check-in department. And we were at the National Stadium over the gym, the boxing gym. And it was total stress. Total stress. When we spoke about the number of children per school, the amount of paperwork, and Brian, our technical officer, can testify to the amount of paperwork we would have had trying to look for children for events. We would have had to see if they were there, try to get them in, shuttle them over to the start, keep things running. And by the end of that year, 2005, the chief official then, she would have told me, you know what, Julian, I think you're better suited for this level of stress, and a little older than you, so I will hand over to you. So since then, up until about, I think it was 2019, I would have been the chief official then of the check-in department. Now, it would have been separate to the call room department, and our brother, Anderson Welch, would have been the chief of the check-in of the call room department then. But then we started to evolve, and we started to add streaming. So Andy would have gone over there to deal with the streaming, and they would have combined the two stress areas into one large stress area. And I would have been the person to maintain it, and I'm proud of my two great patches because I think that the stress in that area would have contributed to that, but I don't think they will continue to show them progress. All right? So we would have grown to what NAPSAC is today, as was mentioned before. Our level of efficiency is chalk and cheese now. We have some PE teachers in the crowd who can tell you that they would have seen the improvements over the years, going from zone meets into the night time, now to finishing at least by 4:30 it is, right?
Right.
Yeah, so we would have done so much over the years to make sure that it is now what it is. So now with the changes regarding COVID-19 and the adjustments to what the events are actually going to be, I'm just going to present that to you. Okay, so as I said, I'm going to be presenting to you the two main events for the students. As you see, it is the Zonal Get Movement Festival, March 14th to the 18th and 21st to the 23rd.
Now, of course, because it is virtual, we're going to be including all of the age divisions from the young ones in under 7 to the older ones in under 13. The big event, the cross-country relay championships, will be May 10th to the 13th, and that is going to be at Usain Bolt Sports Complex. We're not going to be having the under 7s based on age and protocols with distancing. We know it's a little difficult to properly manage the under 7s in a wide open space with their level of excitement and enthusiasm. So we decided to not have the under 7s, so we will be going from under 9 up to the under 13. I'm going to give you a bit more of that information as we go on, but this is just the general events and the dates. Now, as the chairman would have mentioned, we want to create that early excitement for the championship before the dates of competition. And given the environment and the fact that the first term was online, teachers and coaches were not able to undertake the necessary training and conditioning for the competition in the second term. We seek to promote healthy living, which is obviously movement through exercise, and obviously it's a marketing opportunity for sponsors to build awareness and general knowledge in the market with respect to brands and products. Now, we have two structures, and I'm going to go through both of those structures with you. This first structure is the face-to-face structure. Basically, each school within the zone will participate in the day's session virtually. Each school will select a number of athletes within the division ranges for the activities following the national protocols for COVID-19. So like we say, we have for under 7 right up to under 13. NAPSAC intends to have a central location for the broadcast of each zonal day here at the National Sports Council at the Cigar Silver Sports Complex. And this central location would allow the sponsors to set up their banners, mascot props, and any other advertising material desirable to target the general audience. Central location allows supporting personnel and equipment to be stationed and managed efficiently in one place, streaming, videography, sound, and lighting, just as with our friends at MRD. Sponsors will be able to choose winners for giveaways, which can be presented on the main screen during the sessions. NAPSAC personnel will be sent to participate in schools for each zone activity to assist PE teachers where necessary. They may also be required to act in the capacity of the instructors should connection to the main session be lost. So that is our plan B, just in case. We know that as good as internet connection is, sometimes it drops out, and then we will have pauses in between. Now, if we go back to online, as was mentioned, each school will participate in the day session virtually. The PE teacher or ITC, the internet, the IT coordinator, can create a Google Classroom for the session, add the athletes to that class, and then they can share the screen with the Zoom link which we will be using. NAPSAC intends to have the central location, as we mentioned before, for the broadcast, whether children are face-to-face or online. That is just basically a repeat of that for the online structure as well. So to get moving this structure, as was mentioned, PE teacher signing in on behalf of the school, the instructor from the central location who is going to be conducting the session will be here, all right? And there will be water breaks in between the sessions, which can allow for advertisements from our sponsors and also to facilitate bathroom breaks, etc., for the athletes. Giveaways can be based on set categories such as the most energetic or participative school or athlete, the best dressed athlete, and the most questions correctly answered during our question and answer segment, which is going to be for the under 11s and the under 13s. So the time schedule. Each zonal day for the Get Moving will begin at 9:30 in the morning. We start with the smaller ones, the under 7s. We have them for 30 minutes and we go to a 15-minute break before the under 9s start at 10:15. They have their half an hour and we break until 11. And we begin with the under 11s for a 45-minute session. Now, as I mentioned, the under 11s and under 13s will have an extra piece, so they will get more time. They will break from 11:45 to 1 p.m. for the official lunch break, and then we resume at 1 p.m. for the under 13 session, which is scheduled for 45 minutes to end at 1:45, and we will have any closing comments and dialogue before we end each day's zonal session. So just to show you, for the under 7s and under 9s, we will introduce an introductory video just to build that excitement. We know that these younger ones are all into technology and the virtual world. So we decided that we would definitely use that for them to get their session started, and then we go into the active session. For the older ones, they too will get the video at the beginning as well as the active session. But at the end of their session, after the cool down, we will have the question and answer segment, which is based on track and field general knowledge and obviously knowledge of the sponsors' products. This is just to give the sponsors some mileage as well and make sure that the children understand what they are about and what they offer. Now for the big boy, the cross-country relay championship at Usain Bolt Sports Complex, and the scheduled date, May 10th to 13th. As we mentioned, we are not using the under 7 division for the cross-country relay championship. However, for the under 9s is going to be one event, and it's going to be a mixed division event, 2 boys, 2 girls. To make up that under 9 team, the schools will decide on the order if you want the 2 girls to run first, 2 boys to run last. However you want to mix up those 4 athletes, you arrange that order. However, for the under 11s and the under 13s, they will have their separate girls and boys events. Now the under 9s are going to be a 4x400 meter relay. The under 11s will be a 4x600 meter relay, and the under 13s will be a 4x800 meter relay. For our zone structure, there will be 2 zones per day. One zone competes from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., and the other zone from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. Now the morning session, from the 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. will be registration between 9 and 9:45. We will have the opening ceremony at 9:45 to get ready to start at 10. Competition takes place between 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. The afternoon session, a similar timeline of different times. Registration from 12 noon to 12:45. We have the opening ceremony at 12:45 for that 15-minute period, and competition from 1 to 3. Now, traditionally, we would have a check-in department, and the PE teachers would know as when they come up to the officials and they register the athletes for those events. But given the protocols and having to make adjustments, check-in will now be digital, where PE teachers and information technology coordinators will check in teams prior to the events. All right, and they will do this on their phones, whichever devices they bring to NAPSAC, or even before they leave the school with the athletes. Now the start protocols based on the distances would be a little different as well. The under 9s, as we said, mixed division, 4x400 meter relay, and each event will have 2 heats in order that we have that distancing of lanes, so we'll be using alternate lanes. The under 9 division will have a California start, and for those who are unsure, the athletes run into lane 1 immediately after the race begins. For the under 11 and under 13 divisions, the first leg runs in their assigned lane for the first 100 meters, and they break into lane 1. So for those who are professional spectators and you watch track and field a lot, you will see that for certain distance events. Zonal meets will be time finals. There will be no scoring of points for the championship. So at the end of the day, that is the final for that zone. Zone winners will be declared at the end of the day's zonal meet, which will be the fastest 3 in each zone. The fastest 3 times of the entire series, the entire competition, all zones combined with their times, will be awarded the best 3 schools of the cross-country relay championship. And this is just showing you how organized we are. As was mentioned before by our chairman, we would have had extended conversation with the COVID monitoring unit, especially in 2020 as we were preparing for the 2021 championship. And they would have said that our blueprint was so good that we could use it as the blueprint for all track and field events on the island for that year and going forward. So when we approached them again this year, it was basically, why are you calling us? And we already know, go ahead. So we thank them for that. And of course, the hard-working executive committee all participated in making sure that that happened. So PE teachers are to have a sheet of all registered athletes for use of the process of the protocol checking. Each student is to be called by name individually, his or her temperature check and recorded, and hands sanitized on exit of the vehicle which they're going to be coming in. Adults accompanying the teams can be done intermittently, call their names intermittently between the names of the athletes to maintain order on the outside of the vehicle. So a number of students come out, and adults stand with them to make sure they stand orderly. Should a high temperature be detected, the person will be placed in a set quarantine area, which we have already arranged for, and they will have their temperature checked again. Should that person still have a high temperature, according to protocols, they will not be allowed to enter the venue. PE teachers and assisting adults are responsible for maintaining COVID-19 protocols for their respective teams, and of course, protocols of mask wearing, sanitizing, and maintaining social distance are to be followed. They are advised to assist their teams for the zonal meet day, all right? And these are the COVID monitors who may accompany these schools, and the COVID monitors from individual schools should assist in the maintenance of protocols, especially in the bathroom area. All right? Also, athletes participating in the event will be called at that time, and only those athletes should exit what we call the athletes' village, all right, into our hall room area. And as you know, the hall room area is where we arrange the athletes in their lanes, give them their lane assignments, their heat assignments, hit numbers, etc. We are appealing to physics teachers and sports administrators to ensure that the athletes have their number and are completely ready to compete before leaving the athletes' village. We know sometimes the nerves may hit them and then they decide in themselves, barefoot makes me run fast, I want to take off my shoes. So just in case they make such decisions, we will like them to make it before they leave the athletes' village and come up into the hall room area that is less handling of shoes and other things. Athletes should be advised to follow the instructions of the officials carefully once they have exited the athletes' village. And we know this especially with the under-9s. They are accustomed hearing the teachers' voices only, and persons who are strangers to them, it may be a little difficult. So just bring it home to them that they need to listen to the adults as they give them advice and instructions. At the end of the zonal meet, each school is expected to have representatives present for the closing ceremony for the presentation of prizes. And we like to see the athletes there cheering for their schools, and of course those athletes who will be getting those medals. Schools with athletes placing first or third should be present for the presentation to get the glory and the praise and the pictures and all of that. And adults is expected to accompany the teams for the closing ceremony to assist the athletes following the protocols. Masks are to be worn at all times. And exiting the venue will be through the designated exit point, which is different to the entrance point. For those who don't remember, this is what Usain Bolt Sports Complex looks like by aerial view. Yes, it's been a while. The Athletes Village, what we call Tent City. And Tent City means we will have many tents there to keep the athletes shaded and sheltered in case it's rain. And of course, there will be sun to make sure that they are cool until their competing time. This is just the layout. You will see where we have for emergency personnel, separate entrance and exit area. Bathrooms are over to a different side as well. So even with the protocols, spacing up everything, we think that we are well on our way. This now is the main arena, and the main arena will show the Athletes Village being in the south of the venue, and going to the east of the venue, you will see the athletes' hall room. And in case we need to space them up a little more, we have them in the additional hall room area. On the eastern side, that eastern stand we will have for our officials, and we also have an additional medical room should the emergency personnel need it. And just to top off that eastern side over by the 200-meter mark, we will have a holding area if necessary to house athletes as they go out before the start of their event. On the western side, near to the finish line, we will have our finish line officials and media personnel. We also have our technical room, and through our technical officer, the streaming crew, everyone will be stationed. Should we have permission to have spectators, and of course, this permission will be granted to the officer, we will have them in the western stand, all right? So they're separated. And also, we have another holding area over by the 100-meter mark, and just above the 100-meter mark, you will see our arena exit gate. So you see it is separate from the entrance gate. Once again, those are the pictures of the areas as we would have set out and discussed as a committee. And that is basically it from my end. Once again, happy birthday, happy anniversary to NAPSAC.
Thank you for that very detailed presentation, Mr. Peter. At this point, we'd like to open for any questions from the media related to the championship or any of the events that are planned. Ms. Denny and Mr. Peter are ready to entertain those questions at this time. Yes, ma'am.
Is there any news on the or only the first question will be why only related why you need the part of it?
Okay, well, Mark, thanks for the question. As I would have said earlier, with respect to the current situation that we're experiencing within our schools, we have to remember the first term is usually the general conditioning term, where they do that overall training to get children strong, get prepared, but they would just come off the summer break. And then you get into more specific competition training in the second term. So it is a case where if the children would have missed all of that prep work, it does not make sense allowing to push the children into trying to get all of the regular activities that we normally do. The cross-country relay championships, this is in terms of looking at their long-term athletic development, in terms of easing them back into competition. Because as I said, we have to be realistic. Our children have been out for a long time, and it's a case where we just want to make sure that we are trying to balance what we would consider healthy lifestyles, making them fit again, but also giving them the opportunity to have that taste of competition that they so that they want. Because I can tell you, they're children from different schools, the athletes that are eager to get back from there. And they sometimes ask their teachers, I know might ask them all the time, if they're going to be in NAPSAC and so on. So we thought that this was a perfect solution to provide that balance for our children. And you have to also remember, at the end of the first term, generally, the National Sports Council would host either the Charles Strong Memorial Competition and a recent vintage, the Marshall Trotman Cross Country Relay. So in keeping with that, we believe that there's going to be enough time once the children return into school that they will be able to be ready for May, right? And again, we look to be patient about the whole aspect of it, because if it has to change in terms of the time, that's something that we will have to discuss as a committee. But we are committed to ensuring that one, the children are given an opportunity, as well as the sponsors to be able to see everything on fruition.
That's all.
Yes, Mr. Mike, go ahead.
Can you give me some clarification with regards to the Hall of Fame, really in NAPSAC Hall of Fame or Barbados Hall of Fame? The reason I'm asking that is we would have had some children who dominated NAPSAC, broke record after record, but they're not secondary school in the Barbados or even broke at secondary school. So what criteria?
It is a NAPSAC Hall of Fame, but one of the things that we would have discussed many years ago is that with respect to the children being able to go to the next level, have they been able to do well at a regional or more so international level? So from that point of view, some children may have been standouts, but some children may have been a bit slow in terms of their development. So we looked at both cases. Once they are able to showcase their talents on the international level, that would have been one of the determining or the key determining factor for selection to the Hall of Fame.
And your relay, which is broken into sections morning and afternoon. So the overall level will be determined
by time. It is a case where, as Junior would have pointed out, each day there are going to be 5 divisions. On the 9 mix, and then on the 11 and on the 13 for the boys. So in terms of the execution, you have to remember we're going to have at least 10 to 11 schools within the zones, which means we're going to have 2 weeks. Okay, so as those 2 weeks run, we'll have to have a time frame. So then the overall top 3 times within that particular zone or each division will be declared winners. Then after all 8 zones have been completed, we will look to see which schools have the best time overall, which would allow for the championship in terms of those divisions.
No, I'm trying to wrap my mind around. I don't want a team from down in St. Lucie winning overall and not being at the venue.
Not being at the venue.
Yes, that venue worked out. Sometimes they determine venue work is something that the team to be at the venue because it's the fastest team in a one a couple of days prior on a long pack from St. Lucie and then I'm saying watching some people
Yes, but let me bring my technical man here for you to the technical officer to better explain what is the case.
Oh, you got a bus and
that-
bring them back for me?
Don't worry, we will have a separate ceremony for that. So.
As Mr. Miller. As Mr. Pierre indicated, we're going to be running on the time finals. Now, we'll be familiar with the speed of which we generate results where that side is concerned. So based on the time finals now, it being a relay event, as soon as that race is over and the evaluation is done, the points will then be tabulated based on that. So at the end of the division, we will be able to tell you what the points are, and you will have up-to-date points down to the very end. So the minute the last relay finishes, Within 2 minutes after that race, printers will be in full swing, and we'll be giving you the results for that zone. And we have to be very on point with this because, as Mr. Chairman said, as that zone finishes, we have to clear up this venue, prepare it, and get it ready for the second zone that's coming in. So we will definitely not be having a situation where schools have left and nobody knows what has happened. They will have their results, their trophies, and everything before they leave the venue.
I understand all of that, I'm trying to determine when you are asked that zone, a school has got a particular zone. You ask them to clear up because another zone is coming in. But then maybe we should overall, starting up overall, and then maybe one of those teams that are the school have already let them go. Are not there that you may do.
The overall, because of the nature of what we're doing, overall winners would have to happen at a different point. So we probably bring them back to have a presentation for them. Because when we talk about overall for the championships, that's what after the 4 days has ended. So on the day, the schools will get their championship, but then we will have a day where, frankly, here where we have the space, we can have representatives from each of the business schools come, invite the weekend sponsors, and have a presentation for them. That's the easiest way to do it, without having to have people, as you say, bust back down to the venue on the final day.
I understand that I would start at the end of the year. I am not interested in the formal bring back, the formal presentation ceremony. I want something after the team has won, that I know this team has won, and this team has won, and I think that this team to next year.
On the day, you'll be able to get that, definitely. You saw a little bit on the day, not a problem.
But not you all in.
No. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Your thought, that did permitted that there, and this did event very sure. What is the discussion like, how this movement, stop, COVID-19, those regards, whether it gets their spectators, if they just have to be lost it.
All right, based on what is going on now, we are actually, with the Bar Ministers Union and Teachers, discussion with the Ministry of Health. As we get information from them as it relates to what is going on, we have to wait until school reopens and we see what happens there, so that we will know then what directives will be given at that point in time based on what the current situation is. So we can't give that final detail unless they have given permission based on whatever is going on currently.
Thank you.
Just let me add, as it relates to communicating with the COVID monitoring unit, as we would have indicated at the presentation, we had approached COVID monitoring unit, and they have officially given us permission to have the championship, so to speak. As Pierre said, what is happening now, because it is a school event, we have to get it by the protocols within schools as well. So in terms of just finalizing that, we will know exactly what we will have to do. But what I can also say is that NAPSAC and NAPSAC are actually going to be in talks with the monitoring unit to just finalize certain things within our competitions. You know, those of us that have been working collaboratively, approaching that particular entity.
Good morning. Just one question from me. I've heard a lot of talk about sponsorship. Given it's 2 years that NAPSAC hasn't taken place, have you been able to attract a level of sponsorship this time, considering it's been 2 years since we haven't had NAPSAC?
Thank you for the question, Marissa. Well, technically it's 1 year,
Okay.
because we did have our competition in 2020. However, like I said, we have been able to attract that sponsorship that we were speaking about. I think we're actually in a very good position, and we're very comfortable in terms of where we're at. That's why I would have said in my speech, in terms of the fact that within these times when many businesses are cutting back, we have been able to secure the sponsorship that we need to in order to execute the 20th anniversary celebrations.
Will you mind sharing some of those sponsors?
Well, I said earlier, we have,
Yes.
yes, we have Rubis, Confirmed, Nation Publishing, Fat Restaurant, SNJ Beverages, Trophy World, House Catering, and Any other questions?
At this point, it's left me to give the vote of thanks on behalf of the NAPSAC organization. We want to thank first and foremost our sponsors for partnering with us again, our new sponsors and our new partners. Welcome on board and look forward to doing great things with you. I also want to thank the NAPSAC organization community and fellow community members for their hard work. I know Mr. Jarvis has been stressed about the level of meetings we've had, but it's been worth it, and we invest in that. Also, the staff, the National Sports Council for preparing the room and make sure everything is proper. The staff of the MRB, the Resource Department and Creative Junction, for being here today to ensure that we stream live of everyone, our parent organizations, the National Sports Council, and our student teachers for the support and the company to be able to execute the meet from planning to running all the way through. I want to thank everybody, and of course, you all for being here, be teachers as part of this historic event here that has launched for 2022 and our 20th anniversary year. Again, thank you. Traveling blessings on you all. Have a great day. There is a championship here at that we're going to. I'm not going to look at that because they get rectangles and squares and angles. So it's Danny or someone here who